Well, in this episode, we'll take a look at what happened with NBA All-Star Weekend and the Four Nations tournament from the NHL.
America.
And could it possibly be the SEC versus the field in men's college basketball? Let's see what happens.
It's time for the Bookie and the Bettors show, live from Baldini's Casino. Beat the Bookie. Make every bet count. Reno's #1 sports radio show is now on streaming platforms. Now, introducing the Bookie, Rob Kowalski, and the Bettors, Randy Wike and Nick Schulte.
Welcome to the Bookie and Bettors show. I am your host, Robert Kowalski, joined once again here at beautiful Baldini's Casino with Randy Wike.
Hey, Rob.
Nick Schulte.
Hey.
Gentlemen, yes, I promised non-NFL episodes, and we've got enough to fill far more time than I possibly could imagine. What are just the things that I didn't think we would talk about and concentrate on rather than celebrate? I want to start off with this past weekend with pro basketball and pro hockey, NHL and NBA. We're in their natural break, so the NBA All-Star Weekend just completed over the weekend. NHL has taken a new look on their break, calling it the Four Nations Tournament.
Love it.
I do too. And let's start right there, as tonight is the finale of the Four Nations Tournament, USA versus Canada, in a repeat of what happened last week. Didn't quite expect to see that much passion, but I'm here for all of it. Nick, is this, what sort of moment is this for hockey?
I'll tell you my story because, again, I generally don't watch hockey. Generally, I'll follow it on occasion, but not a big fan by any means. And I don't remember what I was doing Saturday night, but I had the TV on, and somehow this game just came on. And I was like, we'll see what's, Team USA, we'll see. And then all hell just broke loose. And I'm like, it makes me proud to be an American, and God, I love hockey. Like, the best, like I said, again, to me, it was a huge moment for hockey because I just feel like, hey, they got in the press, and I think it's going to help their sport in the long run. And really, when you compare it to the All-Star game and then even the Pro Bowl, it's like nobody even watches those.
Good point. Well,
so
we'll circle back to the competition of what NHL has created, because they've also been struggling with their breaks in between halves. But I think that, Randy,
this is a home run.
This could be locked in. No?
And again, Canada versus the U.S. Canada, who's known for their great Canadian hockey players.
Like 47 gold medals or something.
And then you look at Team USA, again, battling for the colors. And again, they have a good makeup of NHL players on this team.
It's fantastic.
So you got an all-star game in itself.
The sequel tonight, which is obviously televised. I think it's at 5 p.m. tonight. It's if this matches the round robin game that they played, we could possibly be seeing a whole new format that everyone's going to want to emulate across their sports. I don't know how they're going to do it, but look, personally, and here's where I could finally sound off, because it does have nothing to do with actual pro events that we book. This is an exhibition. I'm not interested in any skill challenges. Just give me passion.
Well, what's the over-under for punches thrown? All right?
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
So, look, Thursday night's Four Nations face-off final between Canada and the United States, it's clearly going to be supercharged. We could see the players care, the coaches care, the fans care, for better, for worse. Politicians care. A part of the reason that the United States hasn't beaten Canada in a best-on-best final since the turn of the millennium, back it was like 96 when they had the World Cup of hockey. So, look, if Canada prevails, it's going to feel like the 2010 Olympics when the Americans beat Canada, in round robin, only to lose to Canada in the gold medal game. No one remembered the round robin victory when you lose the final.
Yeah, exactly.
But if Canada wins this rematch, the only thing anyone's going to be able to recollect about Saturday's game was, how the game started.
Yeah.
And there were just haymakers flying all over the place.
Put 9 seconds on the clock.
The one concern I do have tonight with Team USA is they're banged up considerably.
Yeah.
McAvoy's out. They got 3 or 4 other guys really banged up that are questionable going into tonight. So we'll see how that downplays. And again, the emotional high from Saturday's game affected the U.S. against Finland. Obviously, they're going to be back up for this one. But again, the injuries and being banged up, really on the Team USA side, you'll have to monitor that tonight.
Yeah, 4 nations. Look, could we have it, 8 nations? Sure, we could. And I would like to see that happen, to be honest. It's
You got to start somewhere.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. For me, I will be watching
Oh, hell yeah.
the finale here. To the NBA, however,
The what?
I
Yeah.
can possibly look.
WWE live.
So the issue with the NBA. First off, okay, did you watch any of the NBA festivities over the weekend?
All I saw is a guy jumping over a car.
Max McClung.
Yeah.
I'll circle back to
Didn't
that.
even know who he was.
Randy, did you see any of the
I
NBA?
didn't see the slam dunk. I watched Hero win the 3-point shootout.
3-point shootout. Did you see any of the games the
I
following
will
day?
not watch those games. I refuse. They've
Okay.
made a
Were
mockery
you saying
of,
something about passion a second ago?
Yeah, you've made a mockery of these games just as the NFL has with the All-Pro All-Star Weekend. What are we doing in America?
I can't remember if I brought this up, not to dovetail to football for 2 seconds here, but I heard a proposal that instead of doing the Pro Bowl game, they should have the losers of the AFC and NFC championship
Right.
play that week and for like the John Madden trophy or something like that.
I would
That
watch.
everybody would watch that.
That I would
Yeah.
watch.
But-
It's a
But
joke.
when's the last time you watched the Pro Bowl game or anything about the Pro Bowl?
Pro Bowl, no.
I've never.
Back when it was, do they still
Yeah.
play it in Hawaii, Randy?
No,
I
I
have to ask.
Yeah,
Like,
no, they're not.
It's
don't
like
know what-
flag football now too, or
well,
something.
and
then-
again, how many years in a row are we going to see Eli and Peyton?
Yeah, that's starting to get a
It's
little
getting low.
stale.
Yes.
So-
Help me, please. Get rid of this weekend. Come up with something.
What do you want, like prime time in there as a coach?
Well, what does it solve to see these guys do agility tests and, throwing the football?
Okay,
to
wait, hold
the
on. Come back here. Hold on.
Reelman.
NBA. So,
sorry,
I want to
sorry.
circle back to it was Max McClung, which, by the way, is in the G League. He's not an NBA player.
Yeah,
he
he-
plays for Orlando in the G League.
I heard something. He made like 3 times the amount of money
Yes,
he
did.
made off that dunk
This
than he's
is
actually
his
made.
third NBA slam dunk championship in a row that he's won. Yeah, he's got leaping ability unlike anything I've ever seen. The one dunk. Okay, I'll say everyone's seen the dunk. If you haven't, just pull him up. He jumps over somebody, and somehow he hangs. And you got to show it in slow motion so you could actually really respect it. He taps the rim with the ball first, and then dunks it. Think like what kind of speed and hang time do you need to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the evolution of bigger,
Wow.
stronger, faster is absolutely there. And that's great to see. But the game, right? So now Silver's he's got a really tough spot, right? It's a league that is trying to find its feet once again. The 3-point shot has taken over the game, right? So the question is, how do you make a entertaining game? If it's just an all-star game, how do you end up entertaining everybody and having the players actually care about playing this game? So we've seen in November, it's about 6 weeks, not even 6 weeks. It's about 4, maybe even 3 weeks. The NBA Cup, very nice idea, which happens mid-November to like the first week of December. Every team's a part of it, right? And they play round-robin style and eventually get themselves to the finale, which is in Vegas that they play. The problem is maybe we can take that NBA Cup and do what the NHL just did, right? Take a 2-week break and put an NBA Cup and put it into the halftime of the season. Do you think that works even?
Well,
Didn't King James come out and said that was the dumbest idea ever?
Yeah,
with
it was-
the
The NBA Cup?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if that's.
the
I thought it was
key thing
good.
is
No, I thought it was good too.
you look at America's pastime, okay, baseball. Baseball has a reason for the All-Star game because the winner, the American
Yes,
League or National League, gets
it's-
home field advantage.
Correct.
That makes an All-Star game interesting. What we're doing here with the NBA and NFL, I'm not sure, other than saying we don't want our players to get hurt, what does it really solve?
Yeah, that's we never want them to get hurt.
Yeah,
Even back
yeah,
when
yeah.
it was East versus West in the NBA and they were scoring 160, 170, and it was fun. Yeah, there wasn't any defense, but you want to be entertained. You want to see them in just transition, dunk, dunk, dunk.
Well, that's what the fans
That was
want.
fun,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we pay for. We want to see them go and just score. So, all right, if we can't fit an NBA Cup like the NHL basically parsed out their season and did the Four Nations, and we can't fit the NBA Cup into a extended break, how about USA versus the world in NBA? Would that work? I could come up with some great rosters that would be, Team USA versus the world. Would that entertain? I mean,
But
I
isn't
feel
that
like
kind of like the
I'm,
Olympics? I mean, when
But can you ever
I'm
get
feeling
enough?
like I'm Caesar over here. Are you not entertained? What do I have to do to get
Yeah.
people to watch again?
But I think, again, you look at it from that aspect, though, you're still going to get to see the best players play, whether it be
Yes.
the world or USA. And I think the people, I say the fans, the ticket holders, would love to see that.
I would.
I would go to see them play the best players from all over the world, definitely. That is in the NBA right now.
I'd see that. For me personally, I would say really over the last 5 years, King Flop has literally ruined the NBA for me. And just flip-flopping teams and some of his comments. And then I just don't care for somebody coming out and proclaiming themselves the greatest of all time when there's nothing to that stat, in my opinion. He's played 22 seasons. He's got more points. But if you look at how he stacks up against Jordan for the first 10, or, he's not even at Kobe's level yet.
The NBA is a different animal, I feel, just from a player perspective than any other sport. I mean, Randy, and you could probably speak to this because the game has changed so drastically. Let's just focus on the NBA, right? Because here's what I want to kind of punctuate. The NBA players wanted to be empowered so that they were the stars, not the team, right? It's a completely different format of thinking. In the NFL, it's the team. The NHL, it's the team. Baseball, for the better part, it's the team that you're rooting for.
Pitchers. Oh, but yeah, team.
Right?
Team.
So in the NBA, it's the players that wanted to be empowered, and they got it, right? They really got it. They decide where they want to play. They could go recruit others. And we just saw this over the last couple of, just 2 weeks ago, right, with the NBA trading deadline.
Mm-hmm.
There was maneuvering, right? And so we've got this style that's put into place where it's like, 3-on-3 all-star basketball. And if you don't have at least two, you're not a contender.
Well, I guess where I go is I go back, and I know athletes are more talented, they're bigger, stronger, whatever now. The NBA, I still think the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, Bill Russell's, Wilt Chamberlain could play today. They were NBA basketball. They really were.
Wait, are you saying that they, with their game, if we magically drop them into if we magically drop them into today's game, that they would dominate?
Not dominate.
They would also foul out of every game probably. But
Well, I disagree because the big man is still the big man. To be able to say Kareem on the offensive side with that sky hook, he's not going to be stopped. He's not going to be stopped.
You sure?
Bill Russell, with the way he boxed out, you just don't see that.
That's
and I
fair.
guess that's my point.
Because they
not
don't
to say
have
that
to.
they can be. Yeah,
They don't have to box out anymore.
no, because you got centers shooting from the 3-point line now.
And hitting them.
Yeah. So it's a different era, but I still go back to the old days and seeing the physical structure of an NBA game.
I'm just throwing this out of left field. What if you miss 2 3-point shots in a row, you get dinged a point? I mean, would that kind of bring it back more? I mean,
Well, the Golden State Warriors would be in trouble. I mean, they with as many threes as they take, and
they live and die by that three.
Houston this year, Rockets, those teams would be in deep trouble.
Yeah. But I again, not knowing much about it, but I'm just going to assume the analytics support why get 2 points when you can get 3, kind of a thing. So it's probably more likely you have a better chance at scoring, winning the game.
Take a look across the ocean. The EuroLeague. It's basically the EuroLeague for basketball. It is the greatest of it's sort of like Champions League for soccer, but in basketball. You get the top teams out of each country's tier 1 division, and they play concurrently. Not even like they're not even taking a break from their regular seasons. They're playing concurrently with their regular seasons against the best of the best in all of Europe.
Okay.
Great. I wish we could participate in something like that. We never would be able to, but I thought the closest thing we could do is to bring the NBA Cup into, I don't know, because it doesn't look like the All-Star game matters to the players anymore.
No.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, that's absolutely correct.
So the NBA Cup was made to mirror image or come close to what the Euro Cup is during the regular season. They get a lot of money. Right, these teams, the players get a lot of money if they make it into, out of the round robin round, and then eventually into the championship. That's kind of the draw.
Adam Silver, please make some changes.
I don't want his job, Brandy.
How long has he been the commissioner? He's been there for
He's done a great job.
minute.
He really has.
25.
Yeah, I can't remember the last commissioner. So
Well, David Stern
David
before
Stern.
him,
Okay,
right?
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job, but again, everybody's after to try to get the young kids associated with the game, and I don't know that happens with what they're doing right now.
Hope things end up better.
Yes.
I don't know how it's going to happen, but and I can't even say, hey, NBA, take a look at what NHL did because it's two
just
completely
different,
different formats that it'll never be able to match up. So
and you
Not a
kind
job by
of you
any.
kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, but I think there was definitely some political motivations behind the Saturday game that might have played.
it
well.
might be.
Might be just a tad, just a tad.
Let's dovetail to my final topic of the day, and that is to the college edition of basketball, who never has a problem because it always culminates in the greatest tournament on the planet, March Madness, the college basketball tournament for men and women. On the men's side, however, I'm finding something that is unusual. And we've been talking a little bit these past seasons here as I sit next to Randy and he's looking at me. I could feel him. While I'm not looking at him, I can feel him.
You know where I'm going.
Burning.
You know where I'm going.
Burning my soul with a topic that he wants to cover, and I won't let him do it. But the amount of talent that currently appears in the SEC makes me think that could I come up with a prop? Oh, yes, I can.
Of course you can.
Of would we be able to see a decision between the SEC versus the field, every other team that is not SEC, to win the men's college basketball tournament? Not only could I actually think that the SEC is a significant favorite. So, just on the surface, and we'll get to my next part about this, SEC or the field, which would you choose?
Field.
Randy.
Field.
That was a little too fast. Now I don't like my number. My number was SEC minus 150 with the field at plus 130, and there's so much to look at for the field. Guys, Auburn, I mean, they won again last night pretty convincingly against Arkansas. They beat Alabama when Alabama was number 2 on the road by 9. They really kind of discarded them. And after actually seeing what happened to Alabama in Mississippi, I mean, Mississippi, Randy, they put up a $110 on Alabama. Well, $110 as a college program.
Back to his earlier point. You live and die by the 3. You're going to die by the 3 in the NCAA tournament. I'm telling you. So
true. So, right, and I want to touch on the SEC, and then I want to take a look at what you guys feel would be worthy contenders to make it into this year's Final Four from a betting perspective. But I'm wondering if Auburn, you know what, actually, let me come back to Missouri because I want to see you laugh. I love it when you laugh. Missouri last night beat Alabama, right? They were number 2 in the country. So they come into Missouri, who's not in the top 25, but SEC put up a $110 on them, right? It was really never caught. I mean, Alabama scored 98, right? So Missouri wasn't really caring too much about, playing any defense, but they brought the heat. Coach, which I don't recall his name at this point, my fault here. Missouri coach with about 10 seconds left in the game when they realized, okay, we're about to beat a powerhouse program.
I love what he did.
You saw,
I saw that.
Of course he saw it. So to tell everybody at home, what Coach did. He came over to center court. He went over to the public address microphone.
Grabbed it.
And he said, guys, don't rush the court, okay? I know you want to rush to court because we're about to beat Bama. It was pretty much over and done. You just, roll the ball out and that's it. Everyone goes. So basically the moment he stopped, calling it out over the public address, they started the clock, they rolled out, and he was already shaking hands with the coach from Alabama. However, he said, don't rush the court because it's going to cost us money that I need for NIL, Randy.
And remember, that'll come back and bite you in the butt because that's almost like rubbing it in.
Mm-hmm.
So, let alone the NIL situation, which it was kind of hysterical.
I thought it was great.
But from the aspect of Alabama, if they should meet again down the road, there'd be a little revenge there because I thought it was a little rubbing it in. I mean, again, the game hadn't even ended. I get the point. But it seemed to
rush the court. That's a big. Actually, I looked it up. I saw it as low as 100,000 to as high as 500,000 on the internet. I couldn't quite get the number. Let's just say it's 50,000. Even 50,000 is a lot of money for fans to rush the court. That's money. Yeah, maybe the program wants to use someplace else. I don't know where, but okay. So SEC, both of you are on the field. So I actually am not too comfortable with the number that I just made.
There's more parity in college basketball than ever before. And as much as I'm against the NIL and transfer portal, when you look at a college roster and you have 12 to 13 on the NCAA basketball, it's a lot different than looking at the football side. Football side can be dominant. Now you're creating parity with as few as players as college basketball teams have. And you look across the country. I mean, some of these teams, and not to get, but you look at the Drakes of the world and even St. Mary's, they're going to cause teams problems because of the parity and, again, some of the transfers that came over.
Nick?
So let me get this straight. You were actually in support of the transfer portal for college basketball?
But it does create parity in college basketball. I am against the transfer portal and NIL.
I am highly in favor of the NIL specifically, and I'll get to my reason why when I actually take a look at who I like in my Final Four. So that's actually the thing. So now knowing, and Randy, thank you, and actually I feel even worse now about my number at plus 130. So I'm just taking that off the board. So I had Auburn number one in several times I've tried to rewrite my power ranks in beating Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Bruce Pearl, he's the first coach to, win, as AP number one versus a number two game with two different teams. He's got a really great battle-tested program right now. And so I would have them one. But you're absolutely right. If you just pour down the teams that would follow, they're not really SEC. It's Duke. Mm-hmm. We could talk about them. Houston, of course. Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, right? So it's a ton of SEC there. And Iowa State, Purdue, Wisconsin, right? So some Big Ten is making their appearance.
Watch for a surprise team to make it to the final.
Randy, great. So let's start with you here. Obviously, what I wanted to talk about is to see if we could give our listeners and our viewers at home, you've got a team or two that you think that can squeeze their way in or Cinderella their way into the Final Four that aren't part of the usual suspects. Anyone here that you see?
Well, again, Auburn and Duke are clearly the top two teams in the league. But I'm telling you, and you're going to love this one. One of the teams that I like to make it to my Final Four is St. John's. Rick Pitino has done a great job with this team. They have athletes, Rob, true athletes.
Did we ever get that challenge flag?
And the other one you can't forget about when it comes to the NCAA basketball tournament is Tom Izzo. His teams always seem to arise during the NCAA tournament. I like those two teams a lot. I definitely think, depending on what happens with Alabama or Tennessee in the seedings, one of those teams could make it. But St. John's is my surprise team to get to the Final Four.
Nick, how many episodes have you seen me here? And Randy, how many episodes have you seen me here with my black cup of coffee?
Almost all of them.
Correct. And I don't have it when I need it most because, Randy, I want to cheer you and I salute you, and I can't do it. I have nothing, no liquid in front of me. How you ended up with my alma mater.
I've been
in
watching.
the year
Yeah.
that they're so red hot. I mean,
Did you watch him the
did
other
you watch?
night?
Did you see his press conference?
No, I did not see that.
It wasn't. Oh no, I'm sorry. It wasn't even a press conference. It was just him in the locker room, just getting the team fired up for a game. And it's like I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now. This is my coach. Finally, Randy, my coach on my program in my city. Okay,
The team-
Rick
The team plays defense. They hustle.
They're the top defense in Tennessee's probably only program better defensively.
I watched them the other night.
They just go on
I've
lockdown.
never seen a team where you can say you locked down on all 5 guys.
Yes, all 5.
Yeah.
All 5, correct.
All 5. And they did. I'm telling you, this team could surprise some teams. Again, where they're seated is going to be critical, but they have the talent to shock some people.
I will say this. So first off, they already have proven just during the regular season that they have what it takes. They're going to be playing the Big East tournament. Is going to be in Madison Square Garden, which is the home. That's where St. John's plays. Rick Pitino is going to have them lined up perfectly so that they win that. They're not going to get obviously they'll get a single-digit seeding in this year's dance. I think they're going to probably be 4, right? Dare I say 3, right? So it's a high seed.
Yep.
With that defense.
Best defensive team I've seen all year, and I've watched 5 or 6 of the game, but I watched them the other night. Oh, my God. I have never seen all 5 guys
It's my
play.
coach.
Oh,
So, and I said I was going to call back to this. We're talking about NIL. Come on. Okay, so give them the first year. The first year, they missed the dance, right? You got to kind of figure out this really isn't your program, but let me make things work.
right.
This is Pitino's program. How do you think he's able to finally acquire New York's best or the tri-state area's best?
Money.
Wait a minute. We're talking about St. John's.
St. John's.
Yeah, NIL money.
Yeah.
That's how you can recruit some people. I mean,
Look, and it's even our colors. Our colors are red. It's the red storm.
I like them a lot. And again, last week starting looking at, everybody's predictions for
right.
Bubble Watch and that. And no question,
Bubble Watch.
no question,
Yeah.
Duke is up there. But I'm telling you, the other thing I really believe in, every year the Mountain West ends up losing the first round.
Yes, they do.
Patino's kid has got a pretty good team over in New Mexico, too.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out for them. I just think the parity, and you look at and again, we go back to the Randy White philosophy, defense wins championships. And if you're a 3-point shooting team currently and you're shooting like Alabama, making 13 or 14 a game, you get into the tournament, little things that change. You can't hit a 3. You don't have a big game inside a post game. You go down.
Mm-hmm.
You go down. I don't know how he did this, but Randy did it. Nick, I was gonna go ahead and value St. John's, but
yeah, he beat you to the punch.
Randy beat me to it. I do want to touch on
Tom Izzo, don't let me down.
Right. I do want to touch on Michigan State. They're obviously coming into the season. They look like a really good perimeter shooting team after the 25 games. It's evidence that really it's not, they're really bad in 3-point accuracy. Yet the Spartans have lost 5 times only in 25 games, right? So they make up for it by this really different style of just repainting the whole entire, and their offensive rebounding is insane.
Every player
Second
hits
chance
the
points.
boards.
They
Every
hit
player.
the boards, right? So I appreciate that. Now, defensively, that's may end up, where they're going to probably find their fault. But, hey, I'm never going to fault someone for looking for a price. That's a price right there, Michigan State making it to the Final Four. I have a few other thoughts, but please, let me hear a couple here from you, Mr. Schulte.
Nothing real. I mean, I think Duke's a lock. You got to
Correct.
put them in there.
Yes.
I don't see Auburn making it. Every year there's.
You want to take the no?
I'll take the no on
So,
Auburn.
okay, this is good. I wasn't going to look at it from this perspective, but this is a yes-no proposition. So Auburn to not make
the Final Four.
the Final Four is not too off from
That field bet?
a field bet, right?
I'd take that. Again, I just don't. How many times do you see? Yeah, they might win the first round.
Offensively,
Yeah,
they
but
are. Seriously, I'm telling you right now. Offensively, They are number 1 in the country. Defensively, right? So Randy, to call to Randy's point, defensively, not so much where I want to see them. I like to see a program that's top 10 in both offense and defense. That makes me think that they can make it to the Final Four. That is where
Florida.
Yeah. A program that sits beautifully. Top 5 offense, top 10 defense, right? So that's another great program that fits that mold for me that I would like to see go pretty far, personally.
Well, and again, keep this in mind, and I really believe this strongly this year. Every year we sit here and we talk about how many number ones are going to make it to the final.
Okay, yes, I forgot
so
this
the number
point.
one
Yes.
seedings now,
Yes.
I don't know that you can call them true number ones. So that's going to make it tougher for those top teams to make it all the way.
Duke, Auburn, Houston, unless something insane happens, I have them as number 1 seeds.
Makes sense.
And then we can fight out and see if it ends up being another SEC program. It's probably going to be another SEC program.
Tennessee or Alabama will probably be the number, I would think, in the 4.
Or Nick's Florida, in which case I even like your odds even more of them making the Final Four.
I'm going to say my kind of call it a long shot, but I like UCLA. I mean, they beat, a bunch of ranked opponents.
Yes, they have.
Good in offense and defense.
I will say if you've watched them lately, and they look tired. This UCLA team looks tired, and that scares me. Again, you want to peak towards the end of the season here. We'll see what happens in their tournament. But they looked tired against Minnesota, really, the other night. And UCLA should have destroyed them.
They should have, yes.
And they did not look very good.
One team. So okay, I'll end with this. I've got another. It's not an outside shot, but it's a program that we haven't talked about, and they kind of had an inconsistent start to the season. Arizona. They caught fire since January, and basically haven't looked back.
Correct.
They've steadily improved. They're inconsistent from the outside. That's kind of where my problem is with this program. But it's a price. I think that they're still dangerous to, at the very least, make it into the second weekend of the tournament, if not a little bit further. And one team that, if they're asking about, because I could kind of hear the comments once we post this episode. Well, what about Kansas? How could we not be talking about Kansas? Randy, did you see that game against BYU?
Yeah, the continuity on this team, other than the big kid, they don't have the talent level they've had in years past.
Preseason number 1.
And again, it's
they
not
are
there.
Off on almost all year.
Yeah, especially lately. They win one, they lose one. And I don't know. I mean, when's the last time you've seen Kansas with 8 losses?
No.
It's kind of a surprise. I don't know from Bill Self. I know he's more animated than I've ever seen him on the sideline.
I think I would be too if I had a program like that.
And again, this just goes to show you the parity this year. You had this team really as a preseason number 1, and they're not there.
Well, I don't know. Everybody, I mean, look, I didn't think I'd get this much action and enthusiasm from these two today, especially when I knew it was going to be a non-NFL episode. But clearly, they're highly animated.
Few weeks away, March Madness.
I'm very thrilled by this, right? And so clearly, and of course, please leave your comments down below. I had a ton of fun with today's episode. If it wasn't for NFL, and look, I follow a lot. I can't follow everything, right? No one can, but I really, really do like my college basketball, and I can't be more excited than I have been in a very long time with the program.
And I just want to say this. I want to get the NIL in there one more time. A college coach isn't a college coach anymore.
Yes, you've said this.
They are administrator.
Correct.
So to be able to put the X's and O's on the floor, it's a challenge. So again, the parity in college basketball, watch March Madness.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. There's obviously so much more that we could go into, but we're out of time. So we'll see you again next time. For Randy Wike, and of course, for Nick Schulte, thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. See you again next time.
Go Team America.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettors Show. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Hit that subscribe button and join us.